Transitters.
Hi! And welcome back to another family reaction video. Today we're going to be continuing on with one of our favourite series on this channel.
I think it's my favourite series.
Anything to do with food.
It's the food stuff.
American food.
Yeah.
So we're going to check out the #1 comfort food in every state.
Ooh, and you know what? I sort of wanted to know this because we want to try a state food or a comfort food because not every state has a state food or a state dish.
Yeah.
So it'd be handy to know what these are.
We want to know what some places are known for.
Yeah, we can add them to the list.
And what they find comfort in.
Yeah, because we want comfort.
So let's check it out.
Get ready for a mouth-watering journey from crispy fried green tomatoes to silky
we need to try
dumplings and the underdog food favorite. Indulge in the #1 comfort foods across states, north and south. Made from thick, chunky slices of fresh green tomato that have been dipped in egg and flour or cornmeal and then fried to golden perfection, fried green tomatoes are the epitome of classic Southern cooking. The dish started as a way to use up unripe tomatoes before they could spoil and has grown into a staple of Alabama home cooking. Tangy and savory with a satisfying crunch in every bite, these Montgomery faves only get better when dipped in a bit of remoulade or spicy mayonnaise.
Nice.
So good.
Alaska, king crab legs are a favorite regardless of whether they've been boiled, grilled, steamed, or baked. Tender, sweet, and succulent on their own, and only better when dipped in a vat of butter, the king crab has come to serve as a symbol of Alaska's resilience. Harvested in the cold waters of the Bering Sea, this prized delicacy is especially treasured by locals who get to enjoy it at its freshest.
I've never seen a crab.
Chimichangas are made from grilled tortillas that have been
filled
filled
with
with ingredients ranging from shredded chicken.
I think we're going to be in Arizona. Try and find it.
Chicken to beef to pork, and are then rolled up like a burrito and deep fried until golden brown. An Arizona favorite, they provide everything you could want in a classic comfort food. Satisfying crunch, hot savory filling, and mouth-watering toppings like sour cream, hot sauce, and guacamole. It's enough to make even the saltiest superhero fall in love.
Yum.
Dumplings are typically made from a biscuit-like mixture of flour, baking powder, salt,
chicken and
milk.
dumpling.
The dumpling, which is then dropped into a pot with hot broth and chicken and cooked until doughy, like a noodle. Once a staple for lower-income families, the dish has become a favorite throughout the state of Arkansas, including some of Little Rock's most high-end restaurants.
My two favorite things.
California cuisine, fish tacos likely come to mind, and for good reason. They were created by street vendors working along the coast who wanted a delicious, portable way to sell their catch of the day. The powdered and fried chunks of cod, halibut, or tilapia served in a warm tortilla and topped with greens, tomato, onion, and lime juice epitomize everything fresh and sunny and ocean-packed that there is to love about the Golden State.
They're so good. I mean, look at this beautiful taco.
In the Rockies, people from Colorado are often called greenies due to the state's distinctive green license plates.
Arizona or New
There's
Mexico.
another reason to call Colorado locals greenies as well. Their love of chili verde, or green chili. A popular dish first dreamt up by Spanish settlers, green chili is a slow-cooked mixture of pork or chicken plus green chilies, potatoes, beans, or tomatoes. It's a hearty, spicy, and slightly sweet stew that's perfect for the state's outdoor active lifestyle and brisk, unpredictable weather. The beloved hamburger already holds a place in the Comfort Food Hall of Fame, but in Connecticut, they've swapped out that frying for some perfectly placed steam to create their iconic steamed cheeseburger. Invented a half-century ago in the small town of Meriden, steamed cheeseburgers take everything you already love about regular burgers and make them better. They're juicier, the cheese is meltier, and the bun is even more moist and delicious.
I was going to say, that'd be
Delaware's slippery dumplings are a wildly popular regional variation on the beloved staple chicken and noodles. In this case, the dish originated with the Pennsylvania Dutch, who also settled parts of Delaware. Slippery dumplings are a lot like traditional noodles, but also chewier and more satisfying, thanks to their jumbo size. Because of their thickness, slippery noodles also tend to soak up all the flavors of the chicken broth they're cooked in, creating a delicious combo of savory and slightly sweet flavors.
That's a deconstructed dumpling.
Believed by many to have been created
stop!
by a woman known as Sally.
We lost
Key
this
lime
footage.
pie is a classic comfort food dessert loved for its unique mixture of tangy, creamy, and sweet flavors. The pie typically consists of a graham cracker crust that is filled with a mixture of sweetened condensed milk, key lime juice, and egg yolks, and then baked until set. It's then topped with lush whipped cream or frothy meringue, making it the perfect relaxing comfort food.
Oh my goodness.
Not to be outdone by its neighbor to the south, Georgia too chooses pie as its favorite comfort
we need to
food
try
choice.
peach pie.
Only in this case, it's a pie that
I get my
perfectly
peaches
with the
from
state's
Georgia.
official moniker to peach state. It's peach pie.
Slice of peach. Best in Georgia.
Made with fresh, juicy peaches that are baked between 2 layers of flaky golden crust, peach pies have become a staple of Georgia cuisine, as the dessert is the go-to option for countless family gatherings and picnics. A staple in Hawaiian culture for centuries.
That was your video,
It's popularity across the mainland in the last few years. But if you want good, authentic poke, you have to go back to where the dish first started. A typical poke bowl consists of diced raw fish, soy sauce, sesame oil, onions, and seaweed served over white rice. And you don't have to go fancy to get good poke. Some of the island's best comes from casual on-the-go settings, like gas stations and convenience stores.
Wow.
Idaho may be known as the potato state, but when it comes to comfort foods, its residents choose beef all the way. A half century or so back, a chef in Boise started serving up finger-sized strips of breaded, battered, deep-fried, top-ground steak. And a regional favorite was born. Finger steaks have been popular throughout the state ever since. Typically served with a side of cocktail sauce, these crispy, tender shards of beef are salty and savory on the outside and moist and juicy inside.
I think we'll be in Boise.
For a quick snack or a full-on meal.
I'm going to try and buy that.
Steaks.
Yeah, we do.
You have some strange foods in Iowa.
Ever heard the term pizza pie? If so, you
Yum.
might have been talking to someone from Illinois,
Lou
where the
Malnati's.
Chicago-style pizza reigns supreme. The ultimate deep dish treat, Chicago-style pizzas were created as an alternative to trendy, thin crust pizzas of the 1940s. They typically consist of a thick, buttery crust, tomato sauce,
like a
cheese,
pie.
and toppings, plus a selection of meats and vegetables served in thick swaths, almost like a savory Italian layer cake.
It was so good when we made this way.
Is it pizza?
This is not pizza. This is tomato soup in a bread bowl.
The nation of Austria and the state of Indiana may not appear to have much in common at first glance, but they have one big thing in common. The populations of both love tenderloin. In Austria, it's the Wiener Schnitzel, and the comfort food of choice in Indiana is the pork tenderloin sandwich.
That looks
A
good.
slab of luscious pork tenderloin, thinly pounded, breaded, and served on a billowy bun. Talk about comfort.
That's quite an Italian
It
thing to
doesn't
do.
matter how you prepare these golden ears, folks in Iowa can't get enough of the ever-popular summer staple, sweet corn. The comfort food of choice in the Hawkeye State, Iowa is the largest producer of corn in the nation, and the home to some of the most incredible, fresh, sweet corn you may ever get a chance to gnaw off the cob. Shuck it from that leafy
They
green
can thank
husk,
Whistling
cook
Diesel
until
for all that
tender,
corn.
douse it in butter, and let your taste buds soar. It's hard to imagine, but there was once a time when barbecue pitmasters cut off the
Burnt
ends of the
ends.
brisket and threw them
They
away,
were so
thinking
good.
no one
That
would
changed
want
my
them
life.
because they were burnt.
What?
They eventually caught on to the error of their ways, and burnt ends, the rich, smoky, and crisp
Yes,
yet
my
juicy
favorite
tops of
part
barbecued brisket, have
of the
become
whole
the star
thing.
of the show ever since. In Kansas City, in particular, home to great barbecue, burnt ends are the comfort food of choice for many. Kentucky's hot brown sandwich is a late night snack turned comfort food classic.
We had that, eh?
Created by
Yeah, we had a
Fred
hot
K.
brown.
Schmidt,
Yeah.
a chef at Louisville's
Yeah.
Brown Hotel.
In one of your episodes, you made a hot brown.
This was originally intended to feed out-of-town guests and locals who had danced in the
looks a
hotel's
bit more bougie,
ballroom
though.
until the wee hours. Schmidt drummed up an open-faced sandwich of turkey, bacon, and cheesy Mornay sauce, which he then baked and served hot. The sandwich was an immediate hit and has been quenching cravings ever since.
Yum.
No dish, says Louisiana, more than jambalaya, a
Oh,
centuries-old
yes.
pairing of Spanish
We have to try
paella
that.
plus
Yeah.
French and African culinary traditions and cooking techniques. Jambalaya usually includes a selection of meat, vegetables, and spices, all simmered together
that
with
prawn?
rice in a
Yeah.
tomato-based broth. It's a savory and slightly sweet entree with a subtle kick of heat that Louisianans can't help but crave. Prior to the 1800s, lobster was considered a poor man's food and in such low demand that farmers used lobster meat to fertilize their fields. Today, though, lobster is a high-end entree and something nobody loves more than the folks living in Maine. As the largest lobster-producing state in the nation, maniacs know a thing or two about preparing in-demand seafood, and they can't get enough of the lobster roll.
We can
Chunks
only
of
have that in
fresh
Maine.
lobster mixed
Yeah.
with mayo and served atop a buttery toasted bun. It's a comfort food classic. Like the lobster roll, crab cakes are another dish inspired by a
We've tried those
regional
either.
abundance of seafood.
What's it?
In this case,
Crab cakes.
Maryland and the state's incredible blue crabs. A classic Maryland crab cake usually includes fresh lumped crab meat, mayonnaise, breadcrumbs, Old
That
Bay
looks
seasoning,
good.
mustard, and Worcestershire sauce. These ingredients are mixed together and shaped into patties that are then fried or broiled until crispy on the outside and tender on the inside.
Got the
It's a
tomato,
dish
it's
so
healthy.
popular that locals have been scarfing it down for nearly a century.
Yum.
Another East Coast state, another perfect
Clam
seafood
chowder.
inspired
I've
I've
never
never
tried
had
that.
clam chowder.
This time it's
Neither.
clam chowder, the
Never had
comfort
clam
food
chowder.
of choice throughout the state of Massachusetts. This simple yet hearty soup, which combines chopped clams, potatoes, onions, bacon, and either milk or cream, has been uber popular throughout the Bay State since at least the 18th century. In fact, America's oldest restaurant, the Union Oyster House in Boston, has been serving the soup consistently on its menu since the place first opened up way back in 1826.
Wow.
How does the Coney Island-inspired hot dog end up the comfort food of choice in Michigan?
Coney dog.
Think Greek immigrants who were inspired by the hot dogs
No, you made
they
it
ate in Brooklyn and took that idea west to their new homes. Numerous Coney Island-style restaurants popped up throughout Detroit in the early 1900s, and some are still in operation today. The star of their menu? The classic Coney, a beef hot dog topped with all-meat chili, yellow mustard, and diced onions, and served in a warm, steamed bun.
Yum.
What could be better than a classic all-beef cheeseburger? Well, if you're from Minnesota, your answer has got to be the Juicy Lucy. A beloved Minnesota delicacy, the Juicy Lucy is a rich, savory beef burger stuffed with cheese. And as that burger cooks, that cheese melts into a molten core of golden gooey goodness.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Out-of-towners may add onions, pickles, or bacon, but locals keep it simple and let their Lucy shine. As legend has it, Mississippi's Po' Boy got its start when a pair of former streetcar conductors turned restaurateurs and opened a popular eatery. To give back to the community, they handed out free sandwiches to folks who were down on their luck. The sandwiches varied considerably. Some had roast beef, some contained chicken fingers, and some packed fried seafood. But they all had one thing in common. They were served on a French-style baguette they called po' boy bread. The name stuck, and Mississippians are still clamoring for the sandwich even now.
Yep.
The story of toasted ravioli is a simple one. A
that was good.
To finish an order he was working on when he accidentally dropped a few large ravioli in hot oil instead of boiling water. The restaurant's owner tried to salvage them with some Parmesan, and everyone loved them. Soon, these toasted ravioli were popping up throughout St. Louis, before spreading across the Show Me State to the rest of the country.
Wow. I guess the only thing I was thinking to do was get some toasted ravioli. I grew up on that, so every time I come back here, I always got to eat it.
A classic Native American dish that's been popular.
We need to try this.
They remind me of like the Hungarian
everything there is to love about Mexican food, and elevate it with the warm, yeasty, crisp bite you can only get from fresh baked bread. Starting with fried bread, you then top it with spicy seasoned ground beef, tomatoes, cheese, salsa, and sour cream. No wonder the fried bread taco is such a favored comfort staple. If you haven't spent a lot of time in Nebraska, then the Runza sandwich may be a mystery.
Did you make the Runza?
No, I've never heard of it.
I think debating the incredible appeal of the Runza, believed to have been brought to the state in the late 1800s by German and Russian immigrants. A typical Runza consists of savory pastry dough that's stuffed with ground beef, onions, and cabbage, and then baked to a crispy golden brown. The regional delicacy is so popular that it's even inspired a fast food chain which operates almost exclusively within the state.
Wow.
Maybe it's Nevada's link to all those famous 19th century cattle drives. Maybe it's because Las Vegas was home to the country's first ever all-you-can-eat buffet, where prime rib was a main attraction. Maybe it's the famous roaming prime rib cart at Laurie's the Prime Rib in Las Vegas, which carves and serves up slice after slice of succulent prime rib tableside. Whatever the reason, when it comes to comfort food in Nevada, nothing gets more love than tender, juicy prime rib.
Yum.
Comfort foods often blossom in regions where ingredients are in the greatest supply. So what do
Danzy's
locals in
favorite
New Hampshire,
of all
one of
time.
the nation's leaders in the production of maple syrup, flock to when looking for a taste of home? Maple syrup, of course. And what goes better with the kick of maple than a mountain of pillowy, soft, warm, buttery pancakes? And they're not just for breakfast. Throw some bacon or sausage on the plate to sop up that syrup, and you've got a classic comfort meal for any hour.
Maple syrup and bacon.
Depending on where you grew up in Jersey, you may call the state's official sandwich a pork roll, or you might call it a Taylor ham. But however you order it, the ingredients are the same. Slices of processed smoked pork roll ham that's pan-fried until crispy and then topped with egg and cheese and then placed between two slices of a Kaiser roll or sliced bagel.
Is that a hash brown?
It's affordable. It's versatile. It works for every meal.
An egg on the bottom.
Living in the Garden State, nothing tastes more like home.
When I go to the store, I say pork roll, egg, and cheese.
One of the most popular of all comfort foods in New Mexico is what's known as albondigas, or Mexican meatball soup. Imagine a sea of homemade beef and pork meatballs swimming in a zesty tomato broth, carrots, potato, and zucchini. And you have a pretty good idea just why this dish is so widely loved across the state. Talk about
that's such a weird name.
Buffalo wings were created in Buffalo,
I was going to say Buffalo wings,
which is still in operation today. These crispy
I know.
spicy sauce.
We didn't even touch half the New York
cheese
food.
dressing.
We need to go back.
Wing is
They
king.
remain a favorite across the Empire State even now, nearly 60 years later, and have spread across the nation to become a favorite of sports fans everywhere.
Yum.
1,000 tangy wings packed in a black contractor bag, thrown straight through your window and time for kickoff.
Culinary dishes packed with meat and a giant piece of pork shoulder slow cooked cooking over fiery coals.
Ooh.
The hours-long process infuses the meat with rich, smoky flavor while also breaking it down until it's melt-in-your-mouth tender. When it's done, pull it apart to serve it. And you've got a Carolina pulled pork. The only thing left to debate is whether you top it with the vinegar-based sauce popular in the eastern part of the state or the tomato-based sauce popular in the west. Choices.
I'll take one of each, please.
Yeah.
Leave it to the folks in North Dakota, one of the nation's leading producers of potatoes, to figure out the ideal way to make an already craveable potato even more delicious. All you have to do is dip your chips in chocolate, of course.
Didn't we get sent these?
Oh, yes. Remember we tried that?
Yes, we did. They were actually
and
good.
this is one treat you don't have to live in North Dakota to experience. Just melt some chocolate and add a chip. It's that simple. The Buckeye is a classic Ohio comfort food.
Oh, I remember Buckeyes.
Oh yeah, I made them.
Yeah,
so
we made Buckeyes.
Yeah.
They were
Powder
yum.
and sugar dough that's been dipped in chocolate and then chilled until firm. The name for the candy comes from the state's official tree, which produces a similar-looking nut that is mostly dark brown
Very
with
sweet.
a speck of lighter brown that is said to resemble the eye of a deer. Clever and pretty darn tasty.
Yum.
Like Indiana's breaded pork tenderloin.
I made a mistake. We made
Yeah,
this.
that was so good.
It was good.
From the classic Austrian dish Wiener Schnitzel. Only, in this case, the protein in question is a breaded piece of steak. And instead of eating it between two pieces of bread, the classic chicken fried steak is typically served next to a mound of mashed potatoes and topped with a rich, savory gravy. It's the perfect down-home traditional meal for one of the states that leads the nation in beef production.
Nothing wrong with green beans and a chicken fried steak.
No, there is
Named
not.
after the Pacific Coast town known as Dungeness, where it was first harvested commercially,
Is that what we need to
Dungeness
have?
crab has been a staple of the Oregon culinary landscape for decades, and for good reason. As fresh seafood goes, it's among the best you can eat. Sweet, delicate, and slightly nutty flavored, the meat from the crab is tender and moist, and perfect with just a slight hit of butter or freshly squeezed lemon.
Oh, that looks good.
In Pennsylvania, the comfort food of choice combines bits of ham, bacon, sausage, and other unwanted pork scraps, plus cornmeal and spices to make something altogether new and unique. Scrapple, cut into slices and fried up with breakfast, or cubed and added to omelets, soup, or stew, scrapple is a meat product you have to try in order to truly appreciate.
Scrapple, I don't want to know what's in it.
Eyeballs and tongues.
Has everything imaginable in it.
Eyeballs and tongues.
What? I cannot. I don't think Scrapple's on my list.
Fresh chopped clams, plus breadcrumbs, butter, onions, celery, garlic, and spices. The stuffy mixes all the ingredients together, scoops them into a shell, and bakes them until golden brown. For many who grew up in the ocean state, stuffies epitomize summer and family trips to the beach. Exactly the memories you want from a beloved comfort meal. The comfort food that folks in South Carolina jones for the most is actually a dip, and an incredible one at that, pimento cheese. Made from a simple blend of grated sharp cheddar cheese, plus diced pimentos and mayonnaise, this spreadable comfort in a bowl is great with fresh veggies or crackers. It can also be used in sandwiches. Try it in a grilled cheese. Life-changing.
That does
Pimento is a cheese. They call it the caviar of the South.
Whether people in South Dakota are attending a festival, a fair, or a backyard barbecue, there's always one amazing comfort food on the menu: chislik. A variation of the Persian word shishlik, chislik is a play on the classic shish kebab, brought to the region by German and Russian immigrants who settled the area in the late 1800s. The dish typically consists of bite-sized cubes of lamb, beef, or venison that are seasoned with garlic, onion, and black pepper, and then grilled or deep-fried. Everybody knows and loves classic American fried chicken, but kick that crisp, juicy treat up a notch by adding cayenne pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and black pepper, and you've got a Tennessee favorite, hot chicken. Believed to be the result of another fortuitous kitchen blunder, when a chef accidentally added too much spice in her fried chicken, the dish has now become part of the cultural fabric of Nashville. Make sure to order yours with dill pickles. The cool acidity helps to cut through all that fire. Texas is the home of Tex-Mex, an incredible fusion of traditional Mexican and American cuisines. And the star of the Tex-Mex family is chili con carne. Originally derived from a traditional Mexican stew of meat and chili peppers, the dish is a hearty and easily transportable food that was a natural fit for the Lone Star State's early cowboys and settlers. Made from a mix of ground beef, chili peppers, onions, tomatoes, and spices, chili con carne is great on its own, and even more spectacular when topped with shredded cheese, sour cream, and diced onions. Don't worry, funeral potatoes aren't
we had these.
That's just the name Utah's Mormon community has given this highly comforting potato casserole.
It was very good.
It's ideal for a lazy Sunday brunch, large family get-together, or any community potluck.
Yeah,
The
it was
basic
good.
funeral potato recipe includes cubed potatoes, cream of mushroom soup, sour cream, and shredded cheddar cheese mixed together, and topped with
cornflakes.
cornflakes or
Yeah.
breadcrumbs before baking.
Yeah.
Creamy, savory, and perfect for sharing.
They were really good.
Yeah, that was
Vermont is
good.
home to some of the world's top
Oh,
apple orchards.
the old
Remember
cider
this.
donut.
So adding
Saga?
crisp, refreshing juice to
Go and
donuts
watch that
is a
episode
natural
of Ladies'
idea.
Kitchen.
Apple cider donuts
Or
are
extra
typically
vinegar.
made from a mixture of flour, sugar,
extra alcoholic.
baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, eggs, butter, and of course, apple cider. The dough is fried and then coated with a thick layer of cinnamon and sugar. Look for homemade versions at farmers markets and roadside stands throughout the state. They're a Vermont staple. Long before Egg McMuffins, there was the Virginia ham biscuit, one of the first portable grab-and-go meals and a classical Dominion comfort food even today. First created back in the colonial era, ham biscuits were originally all about the ham. Almost all rural families raised and smoked their own meat, and putting a couple of slices of that homegrown ham in the middle of a fresh biscuit, perhaps with some added mustard, mayo, or honey, was considered an ideal way to help the meat shine. Washington
Very good.
State is one of the leading
Oh,
producers
cherry
of
pie.
strawberries
Okay, let me
in
try
the
that.
West.
Yeah.
And when you have a lot of cherries, you make cherry pie. This
Yum.
delicious confection has been a popular dessert and one of the state's most beloved comfort foods since settlers first arrived in the region and brought their cherry trees with them.
Oh.
A perfect mixture of sweet and tart flavors, cherry pie
Some
ticks
yogurt
off
or some
all the
ice cream?
boxes
Yeah.
for just what makes a comfort
love
food
cherry.
so appealing. One of West Virginia's most beloved
Oh,
regional
that was
dishes.
Yeah,
so
that was
good.
we
Is a
tried that
typical
one.
rolled-up slice of pizza,
Yeah, that
except
was
it's
good.
made with a thicker, flakier bread dough, and the average pepperoni roll tends to be stuffed with way more filling.
Mine
Mountains
was
of pepperoni,
good.
shredded mozzarella, onion,
Yours was yum.
peppers,
Yours was
and
good.
marinara sauce, all heated to perfection inside the portable bread shell. Originally created by Italian immigrants working in the state's coal mines, the humble pepperoni roll has since gone on to become the official meal of the Mountain State. Wisconsin is known for its cheese.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
we tried
Those were
these.
interesting to make.
Is a
Very
cheese-based
interesting.
dish.
Yeah.
Cheese curds, bite-sized chunks of leftover fresh cheese that are produced during the making of other cheeses like cheddar, Colby, or Monterey Jack, are one of the state's most popular appetizers and snacks. The shards of cheese, which squeak when you eat them raw, are batter dipped
See, that
and
looks
then
better
deep fried
than-
to
Yeah.
gain
I think
perfection.
the cheese that we can get here is not
Wyoming
good.
is one of the largest states in the nation.
Oh, apparently we
Also
should try the
least
bison
populated.
burger.
Fortunately, all that
When
wide
we're in
open
Wyoming.
space
Yeah.
leaves plenty of room for natural
Okay.
wonders,
Okay.
including
We'll
the
do it.
country's
Yeah.
largest herds of buffalo or bison. Bison burgers use some of that abundant
That's
meat,
massive.
swapping it
That
for
is
beef
huge. We
in
could
any
all have
classic
that.
hamburger recipe. The result
think I
is
could
a
have one of
leaner,
those.
greasier, slightly sweet-tasting burger that folks in the Equality State can't get enough of, with the popularity of bison burgers exploding
Yeah.
in recent years.
Oh, wow.
Okay, do you know what that's done? That's got me really excited for
Oh.
our next round of food trials.
I know. Do you guys know that we actually leave for Auckland today?
We're leaving home very soon.
Yeah.
Monday we fly out.
We fly out
Well,
Monday.
we'll be already
Tuesday,
there by the
isn't
time
it?
this
Oh, no,
By the
is
time you
uploaded.
watch this, we're
Yeah.
already.
We're already there.
Yeah.
Maybe even.
We might even
finished.
be eating a bison burger right now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But one thing that I've seen from this is that a lot of things actually are created on accident. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like, oh, I accidentally dropped ravioli and thing, and now that's the state
Yeah, it's
food.
like, oops.
No, but I wonder how many times we make an accident in the kitchen, which is all the time, and throw it out.
Yeah, true.
How many amazing things did we have
Just
been
waste.
bypassed?
There
We,
could
we
be,
challenge
like,
you
the
to eat the whole
national-
piece of burnt toast next time you
Yeah.
burn it to a crisp.
You never
Yep.
know.
Finest
Crush
delicacy
it up
ever.
Yeah.
and add it as cake topping. You might have the best
Deep
icing.
fry it with pickles and onions.
Yeah. I mean,
You never know.
accidents.
Everything's good deep fried with pickles and onions.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. Oh man, that was so good. Anyway, let us know down in the comments what the comfort food that you like from your state is,
Yep.
and if you have another one that you prefer over this one, because I would guess everybody probably has their comfort food.
What would be our comfort food here in New Zealand? Let's think about that.
Ooh. I'd probably say
Pie.
Shepherd's
Meat
Yes,
pie.
a pie, mince
A
and
meat
cheese,
pie. Mince and cheese pie.
mince and
Yeah.
cheese, or a
Ground beef and cheese pie.
yeah, and like a nice thick gravy. Oh my goodness,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
And we
a
love
pie.
a good lamb rack with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, good roast, Sunday roast,
Yeah.
sauce, bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash.
Yeah.
Cottage pie.
fish and chips.
Fish and chip. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
Okay.
Starving.
Yeah, let's stop. Let's
I'm
stop.
really
Let's
hungry.
stop. Okay. Anyway, guys, we love you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.